So good morning, Sam.
Good morning. About a year ago, year and a half ago, there was a deliverance that happened in Lyons, and it completely changed my life. And I started to attend Vineyard, got baptized in the lake that I'm looking at right now, and
That's
yeah,
cool.
it's been one heck of a journey. So
Yeah. So you
yeah,
can see Union Reservoir outside of your window.
yeah, it's beautiful. The birds are chirping, and yeah. So I grew up as a Reformed Jew.
Is Reform the most relaxed type of Judaism?
I would say so, to my knowledge, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you grew up in a Jewish background. And so for you to have Jesus experiences, does that create like an internal clash for you? Like, do you sort of feel like you're stepping into forbidden territory or?
So this has been a really important question for me. So personally, I've learned more about being Jewish since encountering Christ. Um, the conflict has come from my family, and my dad kind of feeling um, when I told him at first, um, it was difficult. It was difficult to um, get the reaction of kind of keeping me at bay,
Mhm.
with because I had this, the most important day of my life, and just wanted to share it. Just wanted to let him know. Obviously, I wanted him to have what I experienced, but um, it's been hard
Mhm.
to navigate, to not proselytize to, but also to, yeah, I felt like the betrayal feeling from him,
Yeah.
um, and that's been tough, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I remember, yeah, because you had almost like a visitation experience,
Oh yeah, yeah.
experiencing Jesus, maybe seeing Jesus on some level, and um, yeah, then you get to process that. Is there a sense of like there's a breaking free that feels good because you're doing your own thing, or is it more just like you don't want to, you don't enjoy the the repercussions of your experience, but you can't deny your experience either?
In the beginning, I was all about it. I've always naturally been against the grain, rebelling, but that manifested itself in like a lot of drugs and getting in trouble that way. When I had my experience in AA, and getting through that, and being in recovery, put my focus on things that are more important. And so for that parallel to happen, once I had this experience, I was like, guys, I don't know what to tell you. This is real in a way that I have never experienced before, and I'm gonna pursue it. Um, but time went on. I love my family,
Yeah.
and Jesus specifically talks about that in this section, when he says, if you don't hate your father or your mother more than me, there's going to be issues. So that was difficult, denying myself, you know taking up my cross, that everything, it's constant, and
Mhm.
that after being born again and having that miraculous encounter, um what ended up happening was just this drive, this, I would say, divine draw to explore it. And the Old Testament is like coming alive, and um
Mhm.
the context for uh Jesus and his reason for coming, and my own identity too, um is
Mhm.
like, it starts to make sense. It starts to fill out all the gaps that I was never concerned with exploring. um
Mhm.
it's a huge journey, and it doesn't feel like there's an end to it, which is exciting too, because
Um,
it's like,
is it possible to be Jewish and to be a Jesus follower at the same time, or do you have to throw aside your Judaism to do that?
the apostles were Jewish. That whole most of the people in that area of first century Christianity were Jewish. The people who were put in charge of carrying the message of God before Jesus came, and charged with being the missionaries and being the light of the world before Jesus came.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden the prophecy comes true. He comes, and they're not. He's not what they expected. And to this day, there's so many people who can't see it, don't want to see it, maybe haven't been shown, and it's not like I am anything special that I earned the encounter, but it's still it hurts to a certain level to have the clarity that I do, but then looking from the outside in that direction then too, and
I hate to put myself in the camp of Christians who are anti-Semitic, but there's been a lot of them throughout history, and so they're the ones that created this trouble, and now we have to undo it somehow. It's just weird.
Totally, yeah, and they're it just falls in line, I think, with a lot of the different denominational disagreements too, which I've had to navigate, being exposed to Christian culture since our experience when I got saved last year. After having the experience, I didn't have all these conflicting ideas. It wasn't like this means this means this, and they don't match, therefore, all that. It was just
like spiritual gifts versus no spiritual gifts, or the whole sovereignty versus free will, all these things that Christians are all bickering about.
It was just love for whoever I was with, It was just so simple, and I felt led by the Spirit too. It wasn't like I had to figure out what was going on, what was going to happen next. It was just simple,
So interesting.